day 1 training, part 1. And just to let you know, for today, these are the topics that we will be covering. We will go over some housekeeping items that we need to make sure that we adhere to. We're going to talk about who must file. We're going to also talk about filing status, dependents, who is a resident versus a non-resident. We're going to cover some income topics, adjustments, deductions, as well as the qualified business income deduction, and we'll walk you through the tax layer practice advanced scenario 8. We're going to try to take about a 5-minute break between each hour, and we're also going to have you guys to have a 30-minute lunch break at 12:30, so you will have some time to eat, and then we'll be able to take a break. It is myself and a few other instructors that will be providing the material for you today. So I believe everyone's mic is muted. Thank you very much. Again, I want to welcome you to our training day 1, part 1. This is a live and recorded training session, and we will be providing it on the YouTube for individuals that have not been able to attend or make any of our training sessions, as well as if you want to go back and look at it to just get some more information. I ask that you use the chat feature for your Q&A. Any questions that you have, send them to the panelists, and the panelists, they will be responding to the questions. They will actually respond to everyone with that answer on there as well. At the end of the training session, we will then provide a list of to everyone any questions and the answer that we're not able to get to today. So also, taking this class, this training session, I hope that you all have actually already taken your Volunteer Standards of Conduct exam, that ethics exam. That was the first exam certification that you needed to take, and pass it with 80% or higher. It was only 10 questions. In addition to, we also had our intake and interview quality review test that we ask that you take before you participate in this advanced training. If you have not, I ask that you would just complete those as soon as possible. And again, you will have 2 attempts to take those exams. And again, you'll need to get an 80% or higher. You will not be able to take any exam, the advanced, before you complete the ethics. Then you will be able to do the intake, interview, and then move on to the advanced certification. The advanced certification will be the 3rd test that you all will have to take in order to volunteer and prepare tax returns for us. And throughout this training today and on day 2, we will actually guide you through one of the scenarios. You will have 3 scenarios that you will have to input into our tax layer practice lab to complete that exam. So we will cover one of those. Also, we do have virtual practice labs available for you all. We'll be providing that information as well, uploading that in the chat. If you want some more assistance and practice to get used to our tax layer software, that's what we use throughout the tax season. But we will be providing those trainings. It will kick off on Wednesday, January the 20th. You will have 2 options. And then also on January the 23rd, which is a Saturday, you'll be able to see all of that information in the Better Impact once you sign up. So just kind of letting you know what 2021 tax season looks like. Well, so with the pandemic, actually for 2020 tax season, we actually closed our site locations in mid-March. And so we are actually working with our site partners to see if we can do a scan to go, which would mean that tax clients would set up appointments to scan in their tax information, as well as the VITA to go, where tax clients would bring their information in, again, drop it off for it to be scanned. But we are heavily focusing on virtual tax preparation. So that means we definitely want to look out for our volunteers, for your safety, your well-being. So a lot of our tax preparation will be virtual. You'll be working from home. So we'll definitely be giving you some more information this month within the next few days, just what that's going to look like. You'll get some more information as we go through this training as well. So kind of going over some key material that you all will be able to use and reference. The first one is the publication 4012. This is the volunteer resource guide. This gives you tax law information, as well as giving you screenshots of the TaxSlayer software. So within this publication 4012, you will be able to see where you can input income information, adjustments, all the tax documents on here. So we will definitely be referencing the 4012 through the training. The next publication is the 4491. This is also another training guide, so it's definitely good to look at as well. This one has more detailed information relating the topics that we will be covering. And the publication 6744, this is for our test and our retest. We do recommend volunteers, before you go into your Link and Learn to take your certifications, it's best to answer the questions, again, the test and the retest in the publication 6744 before going into your Link and Learn and answering the certification questions. It makes it a little easier, and make sure that you've actually read the questions, understand what they are asking. And then we have the publication 17. This is a tax guide for individuals. You can find all of these publications on the irs.gov website. If you go into their search bar and you can just type in the pub number, you would be able to download this information on there. And you should have been referenced this information in the Better Impact, just for those key resources that you can look at. So what you see in front of you, it is our intake form, the 13614C. This form is very crucial and important for our VITA sites in preparing tax returns. We require all of our tax clients to complete this form in its entirety. We are able to assist with any questions they may have. But before we can prepare a tax return, this is the form that we would have our tax clients to complete. It starts off with asking them their basic information, also their marital status, as well as household information, anyone that is living in the home with them. And then also at the very top, it talks about things that will be needed. Identification, tax document forms, social security cards, or I-10 cards, or picture ID. Things that a tax client would need to bring in, the taxpayer and or spouse would need for us to complete the tax return. And then we'll go to the second page on here. This is asking questions in regards to income, expenses, life events. And as you can see on the left, it has columns for yes, no, or unsure. And so we definitely want to make sure that our clients are either marking yes or no. If we see anything that is marked unsure, we want to ask clarifying questions to then get that to a yes or a no. And so we'll take, for example, on this form, we look at part 3, number 1. It asks for wages or salaries. And then you'll see in parentheses, it has form W-2. So we know that that is the form that we will be looking for. If they mark yes, we will be looking for a W-2 form. And also it has an area to the right, how many jobs. So if they have 2 or more, we know that we will be looking for more than one W-2 form to input into TaxSlayer. And then we have our page 3 that's asking for additional information. If a client is receiving a refund, would they like to receive it as a direct deposit? Would they like to receive a U.S. savings bonds? Or would they like for their direct deposit to go into different accounts? And also, if they have a balance due, would they like for that balance due to come out of their bank account? There. And the last form that we have is the last page of our intake form. This is our consent to disclose. So this form would be useful for if we have a tax client that has come from maybe another state or another VITA site that's not with Dallas Community Tax Centers. If they opted into this in the previous year, we would be able to pull in their tax return information, their basic tax return information, to assist us in preparing their tax return. So the next form that you see, it is page 1 of the form 1040. This is what a tax client will receive once we input their information into TaxSlayer. This is the first page of the form 1040. After we've taken their information from that intake we just saw, that 13614C, we input all that information and it will populate the summary that goes on the form 1040, the page 1. This has their filing status information, the taxpayer and our spouse, their basic information, if there are any dependents, and it then lists income information, as well as any adjustments. And then this is the second page. It will then list any tax, any credits or other taxes that may be applicable to the taxpayer, as well as any payments or additional credits that may apply to them. And then if they have a refund or a balance due, if there's a refund, there's a space for their bank information to go into. Now, because of 1040, it does not list all of the information. The IRS has provided some schedules. So for 2020 tax return, there are 3 schedules, and the first schedule listed is additional income and adjustments to income. So for part 1, we have our additional income. That is anything that has not been listed on the 4012 page 1. It will be listed on this schedule 1, part 1, and the total will then roll into the 1040. Then we have our adjustments to income in part 2. Anything on adjustments to income, that total on line 22 will roll into the 1040. And the next schedule that we have is our additional taxes. So there is the part 1 where it has taxes, and then part 2 where we have other taxes. We'll be going into that to see if a taxpayer or spouse, if they are subject to any of these additional taxes. And for this schedule 2, then we have these summary amounts, summary taxes that will roll again into the 1040. And the last schedule for the form 1040 is our schedule 3, the additional credits and payments. Part 1, we have our non-refundable credits, and then part 2, we have our other payments and refundable credits. And again, the summary of these amounts, they will roll to the main form 1040, the page 2. And so this next one that we have is our VITA links and passwords. We will be providing this in the chat, so you will see this within the next few minutes. We'll get this uploaded to you. But on here, it just shows you the IRS website. Again, for any additional information you need, you can go to the irs.gov. As well as we have our ethics video, if you are interested in looking at that, if you have not done so already. And then it's our VITA Central, the Link and Learn, where you should have already taken your ethics as well as your intake certification, but you'll also go back in there and take your advanced test certification as well. Also, going to that link, it will allow you to click on to go to the practice lab, which we will be doing later today. And then on 4, that is the universal practice lab password for everyone. After entering in that password, you will then have to create your own account. And we will walk you through that. I will walk you through that as well today. 5, we have our volunteer hub, Better Impact. So you all should be used to that for us creating an account, signing in. This is where you actually sign up for these trainings, as well as you'll also be going there and signing up for your volunteer tax prep sites. Tax prep, when you will sign up the days that you are able to prepare tax returns. And then we also have information to contact our volunteer coordinator, as well as different resources that we will have on our website at dallascommunitytaxcenters.org. You're more than welcome to follow us on our Facebook, as well as checking out our videos on YouTube.